Saturday afternoon, having a bit of a... I've got loads of things to do, but what I'm doing is getting these trimmers going. So I'm getting that one going. I've got it to fire. I've got spark. That one out there, that Husqvarna, that's all fixed and done and dusted, running like a dream. So I'll be selling that. That'll be going up on some other site. It'll be sold. I'll have to give it a bit of a clean first. I made it a bit dirty when I was got oil over it. Anyway. I've got spark on this one. All I had to do was to get spark. There was no spark on it, was there? All I had to do was I put the drill on it, took the pull start, because this is the old pull start. Remember the old pull start broke, didn't it? The spring snapped. So I managed to go on eBay and I found a replacement pull start, second-hand one obviously. So I've got that. Yeah, so I got, what was I going to say? I got that on. All I did to get spark was I put the drill on it, and I just took the plug off, put it on the side there. I was watching it, and I kept going and going and going and going and going and going and going, and eventually a spark popped up, nice big fat blue one. I was gonna have to try and take it off because there's those points behind here, you see. But I didn't really fancy taking it off, so I was hoping if I just keep doing it, if there's any rust on the points, on the magnets or whatever, it might just fling off or whatever. And it seems to have done. So we got spark. I've got it to fire on carb spray, but then it shot up, and I thought, why is it revving so high? You know, the throttle's not down. I had a look inside here, and you can see where that throttle is at the moment. Well, that's all the way down. It won't go down any further. So we've obviously got an issue there. That should be almost closed. But it's not, it's about 3/4 open. And look at all that dirt what's inside this air filter housing. So, you know, we've got plenty of compression though, so we should be alright. But the main problem I've got is that throttle there. So I'm going to take these two screws out now and I'm going to take this off and see if I can figure out why it's like that. Right. We're getting some rain now. Right. As you lot know, this is my little patch of grass in my garden. I don't have much, but I've been looking after it really well, and I've been keeping it nice. You know, it's all nice and green. Now this is the third rain we've had in 3 days. Let me show you what my neighbours' lawns look like, right? And then we'll have a look to see how they green up after this rain. So this is my garden. You know what it's been like because of the previous videos. This is exactly how it's been the whole time. Let's go and have a look at neighbours. This one is that grumpy old man. You know, the grumpy old man that's always moaning and complaining about me hedges. That's his lawn, right? It was block browner than that, but the grass is the rain has already started to green it up, right? So that's his little patch of garden. And that's the other neighbour's little patch. There we go, look. That's mine again. Now, this is like, I'm going to try and show you now how much difference a bit of water makes, especially rainwater. Rainwater's got all the nutrients and everything in it that grass needs, any plant needs. Tap water is good, it's moist, it gives it a drink, but it doesn't really do it any good because it's got additives in it and things. But now you've seen what both of my neighbours and probably everyone's lawns and grasses look like after we've had the lack of rain that we've had and the heat that we've had. And because I've been watering mine every evening, I've managed to keep mine nice and green, and I've been cutting it nice and high as well. Cutting it's good. So now you've seen that, the date today is probably the 29th, I think it's the 29th of July today. We'll have a look at that. We had 3 days of rain, not constant rain. We've had showers for Thursday, Friday, and we had a little, did we have a little one yesterday? I don't think we did. Today's Sunday, and it's been raining all morning, and it's about 10:30 now, and so we've had loads of rain on them, and we'll have a look to see how they green up, and you know, it'll be interesting to see how well they green up, because they don't look after their lawns, you know. These people, I suppose, they're all old age pensioners, all retired, and they're all like keen gardeners, you know. They got plant pots all over the place, roses and everything, and they're out there every single day doing stuff to their gardens, but their lawns are atrocious. And a good lawn is a good, you know, impression, the first impressions and everything of everything. And if someone comes along and they see that you've got a nice green lawn, they think, oh blimey, you know, this bloke, he looks after his house and his garden, but it looks horrible. So let's have a look to see how it actually turns out after a bit of rain. Oh, there's the old SGS Strimmer. With any luck this evening, when it cools down a bit, I'm going to go and do a bit of strimming with it, and should get some good testing time in. Hopefully I'll go down and I'll film it for you, and I'll have a separate video on the test. So I've got to mix up a bit of fuel, a bit of petrol. I've got 25:1 in there at the moment, a little bit there. I'm going to mix up the 40:1, what it says in the manual. I'm going to run it on 40:1, obviously a little bit 25:1 in there, and we'll go from there. Right, I've had a little bit of a clean up. I ran out of carb spray, so I had to use engine degreaser, and I went and nicked the wife's toothbrush, and I'll give that back to her later on. Took it all apart, and I've found there's a little bit of adjustment on the top here, so you can adjust that cable, and I've now got the throttle to go all the way down to almost, well, just nothing. I should have a nice little bit of tick over there. So I'll clean the carb a little bit. I haven't taken it apart. We're going to see how it goes. If I can put it back on, and if it runs, wonderful. If it needs to be taken apart, I will do. But the thing is, the reason I'm not going to take it apart now is because I haven't got the diaphragm and gaskets for this engine, for this carb. If I take it apart and one perishes or falls apart, I'm stuffed. But if I leave it together, there's more of a chance that it will be okay, because it's just how it was. So we're going to see. I'm going to put it back on now, and we'll see if it will run. So as long as I've had it running, I'll keep doing that. Got a leak around the bottom. Keep it running for now, just let it run a little bit. I don't want to rev, it won't rev at the moment. Might have to take the carb apart anyway. Gonna go, I think. Might keep going. Get hot, you know. It's interesting, it says 20:1 on there. It says 20:1. It's a lot, isn't it? It must have brass bearings. See if it'll rev. I bet it won't. No, it won't. Let me adjust it a little bit. Got it to tick over now on its own. Adjusted that little screw down there, that little brass one. Ticks over on its own now. So it's healthy enough, doesn't it? Apart from that little leak on the bottom of the carb. There's no stop button though. That says run and stop on there. Interesting, isn't it? I don't think anything happens if you press that though. Nothing happens. Oh well. Now all I've got to do is I'm going to have to take that apart and try and fix that leak. I've had it running now for about 10 minutes. It runs really well on tick over. Just won't rev, but I think taking that apart will about fix that. I've got to fix that leak anyway. But let's see how low we can get it to go. I love the sound of a two-stroke, and I love the sound of little ones like this. See how low we can get it to go. That's it right out. That's as low as the tick over will go. Take up again. It won't have that, it won't rev. If I rev it, it'll stop. Ready? It won't have the revving. But now I know that it is going to run, and it runs really well on tick over. It's obviously a fueling problem there somewhere. I'm really not sure what that's all about. some of it's rubbed off, but it's got an arrow pointing that way and that way. It's got run and it's got stop. There's nothing under it and there's no switch anywhere. The only thing we've got is this.
Jordan North here with the lovely Molly King. We've got our tune of the weekend on the way for you.
Yes, and we've got Kellen stopping by and the summer mix.
There's no on and off switch, that's not a problem. I can just do that, or put the choke on. That'll stop it. No problem. Anyway, carb's going to come back off now, and I'm going to have a look inside and see if I can fix the leak. I've got gasket paper, I could make new gaskets. It's just I haven't got a diaphragm. If there's a diaphragm in there, which there probably will be, I haven't got one. But I have been watching the news recently. How many of you can remember back in England, people that are in England, or people, if you watch news and you know what happened in England? The winter just gone, well, beginning of this year, January, February, we did have an unusual amount of snow, and it was quite chilly, and what happened was people started to panic, and they were going, these news crews were going around interviewing members of the public, and even the news presenters themselves were saying things like, "This is ridiculous, somebody should do something about it. How can anybody do anything about the weather? Because weather is weather." Now, I've been watching the news, well, I've been talking, anyone you talk to these days around here now, because England is going through quite an unusual heat wave. It's not, I wouldn't call it a heat wave myself, I would just call it climate. It's just what happens, climate goes around. England was a tropical country millions of years ago, and then it went through an ice age, and now we're coming, you know, it takes a lot of time, thousands of years, but now we're slowly moving into cold winters and hotter summers, which is the way it should be if you want my opinion. Anyway, so I wouldn't call it a heat wave, but it's unusually hot. It's been 38 degrees, 40 degrees in some places, centigrade that is. Don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, no idea. Probably 120 or something, I don't know, whatever. So it is quite unusually hot for this country. Now there's people that they're interviewing and they're going, "This is ridiculous weather. Somebody should do something about this weather." How? How can somebody do something about the bloody weather? You know? I know the government do control things like rain and stuff. They go up with airplanes and spray chemicals in the air and rain, and it makes rain and everything like that, but it's weather. We're all on this planet at the mercy of the planet, yeah? We adapt to the planet. That's how it works. The planet doesn't adapt to us. So I find it incredible that the modern people these days, they're so lazy and so expecting that they complain when about weather. "Oh, it's too hot, someone should do something about this, it's too hot." What you should do is you should go and cool yourself down, go and get some air conditioning, find some shade, do something, because you have to adapt. That's the way it goes. Stop being so bloody lazy. Just accept the world as it is. That's what you've got to do. That's what I do. I've been sweating like an absolute pig running around. Now I don't cope with the heat, but it's how it is. You have to accept it, just like people. Accept people for who they are. Accept the planet for who it is. Accept the world for what. Accept the weather for what it is.
Flights, ferries and Eurotunnel trains because of thunderstorms at the end of the heat wave. There's widespread travel disruption across the country. Alan's trying to get to Berlin from Stansted Airport.
Ryanair have just cancelled my flights after waiting in the airport for roughly 6 hours. We got on the plane and then they missed their slots, so they've taken us off. This is the queue for Ryanair customer services, and it is never ending.
Lots of flights from Gatwick, Heathrow and Edinburgh have also been delayed and cancelled. People are advised to check with their airline before travelling. Newsgate. Police looking for a teenage...